This episode of Picture Lock, we're hitting the streets and covering the DC Shorts Film Festival. I'll talk with creator Jon Gann about what inspired him to come up with this festival, talk with some filmmakers about their films in the festival, and patrons that come to see it. All ahead on Picture Lock. Ah! I don't know how he did it, but some kind of way he graciously made time for me. I'm sitting with Jon Gann, the creator of DC Shorts Film Festival. Jon, thank you so much for making the time. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Glad to be here.
All right, so let's just talk about why you love short film.
Oh, well, it's I think it's kind of like a perfect art form. I think that I love short stories. I don't really have time for full books, so which is why I like magazines.
Right.
But you know, I think we've all sat through 90-minute features that were 10-minute stories just dragged on way too long.
Right.
And so if you can tell that great story in 10 minutes, then you really know how to use the medium. And to me, that's what short films is all about, is people experimenting with the medium and trying to perfect their storytelling ability. Because ultimately, filmmaking is just visual storytelling.
Right, and you're a storyteller in your own right, right?
I used to direct films, yes. That's how I got started in this whole thing.
Okay, so let's talk about that. How did you get started in it all?
Oh my. Well, it goes back farther than that. Before I got into filmmaking, I had a marketing and design firm. And I got tired of it, and it was the beginning of the digital video revolution. And
Blair Witch-ish time?
Yeah, it was right before Blair Witch. It was in like late 90s. And I decided to go to Quickie Film School. I had gotten into the major film schools and decided I didn't want to spend 2 years. I didn't have that kind of time. I was in my 30s. So I decided I was going to go to this 6-month program, and if I got it, then great, and if I didn't get it, then I'd try something else. And I loved it. It was exactly what I wanted. So I made 2 films after that. They both played a lot of festivals. One played about 50 festivals. And as I traveled around the world with that film, I was really disheartened at what film festivals seemed to be about. They were great celebrations of film, but they were more about parties and sponsors and money than they were about films and filmmakers. And because I made short product, they were rarely about me and the types of films I was making. And so I felt like I was being slighted on the festival circuit, while at the same time, if I hadn't created product, they would have nothing to show. So when I came back to DC, I lucked out, and I live in a building that there's a theater underneath, a black box theater that wasn't being used. So I called a friend and I said, we're going to start a film festival. I don't know how to do it, but I've been to 65 of them. I guess I can figure it out. Right. And that was it.
Wow. So 10 years later, here we are.
Here we are.
What are some of your proudest moments in the 10 years since you created it?
I honestly, the greatest compliment I get 2 great compliments I love, but the biggest one that for me is when filmmakers call me after the festival and say, hey, I met someone at your festival, another filmmaker, and we just clicked and we're going to make a new project together. To me, that's like, wow.
Right.
To me, festivals are about connecting. They're connecting filmmakers to audiences, filmmakers to each other, and audiences to new product. And so that's, I'm glad that I'm able to provide or create an atmosphere where that happens.
You said 2 things, right?
Sure.
What's the other one?
Oh, that it's like the best organized event they've ever been to, because I'm an anal retentive, and that's a huge thing for me.
Nice. All right. So one of the things that I enjoy about DC Shorts is the resources that filmmakers such as myself can actually get while here at the festival. So can we talk a little bit about some of the panels and all that kind of stuff?
Sure. Well, of course we have Q&A after all the competition screenings the first weekend. But we also have this day of free workshops, because my feeling is the filmmakers are here, we have the theaters available to us, we might as well do something in the morning, and why not have a day full of classes? And we have so many great resources in Washington, and I have friends who work in the field, and we have half the filmmakers are great resources. So why do we have a way to connect everyone together? So they've built up over the years. This year, we had more than 250 registrations for it, which was incredible. Yesterday, the final panel of Ask Film Festival directors, and we had directors from across the country show up for that. There were close to 200 people in the room. That was amazing.
Yeah, definitely. I was one of them. Okay, so what's the future for the festival? What are some of the things that you would like to accomplish?
Yeah, I don't know. The medium changes all the time too. I mean, the types of films people are making, and the fact that you can watch short film online now. In ways you couldn't watch them 10 years ago, which is one of the reasons we have an online festival now, is to just allow people to watch more films in the comfort of their home, because we know that they're used to that, and why not provide that platform? But there's something missing when you watch them at home that you don't get in a theater. Watching a film is a communal experience, and comedies are funnier, and dramas are sadder, and when you see it with other people, because there's that feeling you get in a theater. So I'm not sure where we're going in the future. I mean, obviously we like to expand some more, but we're already the largest event on the East Coast, and with 153 films in 11 days, it's a big undertaking. Maybe it's about focusing it a little bit differently.
Okay. So can you tell us about your book, Behind the Screens?
Behind the Screens?
Yeah.
Sure. One of the resources I've developed over the past few years is not only great relationships with filmmakers, but great relationships with other festival directors. And I spend a lot of time getting other festival directors to talk to one another, either through private Facebook groups we have, or just meeting a few times a year. And in that process, I was fascinated as to, my feeling is like there's 3,000 festivals in America, and there's 2,999 ways to run them.
Right.
Everyone has a different way of running a festival, and so why not let filmmakers into a glimpse of what that's about? So the book is 16 interviews with festival directors, big and small. We have a former Sundance programmer and Silver Dogs in Seattle, and then we have small niche festivals and everything in between. But it gives you an idea of like what festival programmers are actually thinking when they're watching your film, what they're looking for, the big mistakes that filmmakers make. And honestly, the big mistakes are the easiest ones to fix, like read the rules, fill out the form properly. Just little things. Make sure you get your stuff in by deadline. But you'd be surprised how many filmmakers don't follow these rules, and therefore they don't get in, and then they wonder why. And I'm like, well, all you had to do was answer 2 questions, or send a disc that wasn't going to break apart in the envelope because you put it in a padded envelope as opposed to a paper envelope. Things that seem so obvious to some people and possibly not so obvious to others.
Right. Well, again, I mean, John, what I really appreciate about you is that all the resources that you do, sometimes just in life in general, people can kind of hog all the information, knowledge.
Well, what's the point of that? I mean, if I hogged on the information, then how could I expect people to make better films?
Right.
So, that's one of the reasons I created, so the time I started the festival 10 years ago, I also started this organization called the DC Film Alliance. And the idea was DC has a huge film community, but no one was talking to one another. And we have a bunch of organizations, and no one from those organizations was talking to one another. And so we created this alliance so that we'd be kind of like the bridge between everyone. But what I found for the past few years is that bridge has been built, and everyone kind of cooperates now. And maybe it's because there's the way we get information out now is completely different than it was, 8-9 years ago.
Right.
But we didn't need to be an alliance anymore. That everyone was already working together. So we changed the name of the organization just to DC Shorts, and then we changed our focus, as opposed to being resources for the whole community, to we champion short filmmaking, because that's what we do. We provide a major festival for short filmmaking. We provide educational classes that focus on short filmmaking. We provide resources on our website to help short filmmakers make short films. So that's why we kind of changed the whole name.
Okay. And so we're wrapping up here, but what's the most challenging film that came through this year, doc and narrative?
It's interesting. What I think is going to be a challenging film is often not the challenging film. So we had a great documentary this year called Not Anymore, Story of a Revolution, and it's about young people teens, 20s who are the revolutionaries in Syria right now. And in the first scene, this woman is talking, and behind her, someone is literally shot dead. Like, it's shot and falls to the floor.
Wow.
And I'm thinking, oh my God, how is the audience going to react to that?
Right.
And when they watched the film, no one reacted to that part at all. They reacted to the end, which was very emotional, and I remembered being emotional, but not as emotional as I was when I was out in the theater. And I was like, oh, interesting. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so John, how can we get a copy of the book and the website for DC Shorts?
Well, the book is on Amazon. You can go behindthescreensbook.com and order it from there. And then DC Shorts, we're running through the 29th, so come to a theater near you. We're in downtown, Anacostia, Fairfax, Rockville, we're all over the place.
Yeah.
Or go to our website, you can buy an online pass, it's $40, and it gives you access through the 29th of September to watch. But we always have on our regular DC Shorts website, we have an area called online, or maybe it's called Archive, but there's like 250, 300 films on there of films we've shown in the past we can watch for free anytime you want.
Okay, excellent. Well, thanks again,
Thank
John.
you very much.
I appreciate you sitting down with
pleasure.
us. I'm here with filmmaker and panelist Kelly Baker. And we're just laughing about the fact that he's actually been on the panel for how many years now?
About 6 years I've been coming to DC Shorts.
So there's something that brings you back every time. What talk about DC Shorts and what brings you back?
DC Shorts is my favorite short film festival. It's one of my favorite film festivals, period. I'm at a lot of film festivals throughout the year. I get paid to go to film festivals.
Really?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because I teach workshops and show my work. But there's a vibrance to DC Shorts. The films here are always amazing. I mean, I just walked out of a screening here. I mean, I saw the whole screen. I didn't walk out of it. I was really moved by a lot of the work that I see here. Year after year, the quality of DC Shorts, it just gets better and better.
Right. And we were talking earlier with John about some of the resources that they provided, and that being the free panel. And I know that last year I actually sat before your feet, and this year I missed it. But yeah, how is it just giving that information and what that means just to be selfless with information? Because, you know, filmmaking sometimes can be all that ego stuff.
And I think that that's wrong. The more I can share to other filmmakers. And, you know, yesterday I was talking about sound, and the whole thing with so many filmmakers, they all can tell you about camera, but when it comes to sound, they don't think about it as much. And I always tell people, and John, I think, believes in the same way, the moment someone in an audience says, "What did he say? What did she say?"
Right.
You know, you've lost them.
Right.
And so the better the quality of the audio, and my feeling as far as, you know, a lot of filmmakers have egos, so do I. Of course I do.
Right.
But the whole thing is, why can't we help each other? You know, why can't we work with each other? And that's one of the things about DC Shorts. There's so many parties just for filmmakers. There's so many networking opportunities for filmmakers that I think that, you know, I like the idea of giving back.
And so you're a filmmaker yourself. What's one of the latest films that you've made?
Well, the last film that I released is a film called Kicking Bird, and it's a feature that came out a couple of years back. Since then, I've written 2 books, one on sound, one on making films, and I'm working my 3rd book right now on self-distribution, because I self-distribute all of my movies. Wow. But I've got a documentary that I'm trying to finish up that I actually started 28 years ago. It's totally unfundable. Wow. It's totally, but I hope to have that done shortly. It's called Dangerous Kay Boyle, and it's about Kay Boyle, who was, when I met her, she was the last living American expatriate from Paris in the 1920s. Oh, and wow. S.I. Hayakawa in the 1960s called her the most dangerous woman in America. And so that's what the film said. It's a feature-length documentary.
Awesome. You know, I think one of the things I love film myself, but when did you fall in love with film?
You know, I think as a kid growing up, I mean, I'm of the age so that my father and I sometimes late at night would watch, you know, war movies because he fought in World War II or Westerns. And I loved it, and I thought, you know, and I grew up in Portland, Oregon. So, you know, what the hell is a kid from Portland, Oregon making movies? But I went to USC, I got into the film program there, so I got both my degrees there. And I probably fell in love, you know, before then, but in school I really learned about the craft. And, you know, and I always tell people, I've been doing this for over 30 years. And I still love what I do. I can hardly wait to get to work in the morning. I mean, it's just a gas for me.
That's a life, right?
It's a life. It's I'm on the road 4 to 5 months out of the year.
Wow.
Doing stuff like this and all. And like I said, I love it. I'm not tired of doing it, and I have no plans to ever retire. Because, why retire from something you love?
Right. So, Kelly, where can we find you, find the book?
You can go to angryfilmmaker.com. That's right. That's my company. My work is up there. You can order the books. You can order my films, all that stuff. And I always put a lot of stuff up there for filmmakers, hints, articles, links that they should check out. Once again, it is about giving back to the community, and I really try to do that. But angryfilmmaker.com.
All right, Kelly, thanks for your time.
Thank you very much,
Appreciate
man.
it.
Thanks.
I'm here with Arjun and Mirror. These guys just moved into the DC area, and you guys decided to come to DC Short Film Festival for a specific reason. Can you guys tell me a little bit about that?
Well, we just love exploring the city, and it seemed like something really cool to do. And so we have tickets for today's showcase and tomorrow. So we just like to do anything that's going on.
Awesome. So obviously DC Shorts has, an eclectic collection from all over the world of great short films. Have you guys seen any that stood out to you?
Yeah, there were a bunch today. I mean, it was really cool that we were able to see so many films from all over the place. There's some films from China and Australia, and I think there's a French film and a Mexican one as well as films from here and domestically in the U.S. And it was kind of cool to be able to sort of take this journey around the world and see little snippets of these films from different places in such a short span of time. I think the first film that we saw was about this.
It's our favorite, yeah.
Old lady in rural Taiwan, and she just decides on a whim that she wants to go to the city and try her luck in the city. So that was something that stood out to start with. It was a cool film.
Yeah.
It definitely pulls at your heartstrings because she keeps calling her son to tell him what's going on, but she calls him her answering machine son because he never picks up the phone. So you kind of feel like bittersweet because she is so adventurous and so positive, but no one really recognizes that she's doing all of that.
Right.
There's no one there to witness it. So you kind of feel like you're the only one watching what she's doing.
Okay.
So that was really nice. That
Wow.
was really good.
So I was talking earlier about how film is a universal language all in itself, and you guys are not filmmakers, right?
No.
But obviously it's something that drew you to, this film festival. What about film really inspires you, intrigues you, draws you to it?
Well, we were talking earlier, and we were saying that one of the filmmakers, I think she's from Toronto, or it might be a Canadian film, but she met someone named Pincus at a Holocaust memorial event. And she just went to his house with her own camera and filmed him doing a family recipe that he remembers that his mom did before they were separated during the war. So it just made me feel like if you think you might have a good idea, it probably is a good idea. You should just try it anyway. I think we're really scared to do that sometimes. You think someone always has a better idea than you do. But a lot of these people seemed very well-intentioned, and they were just saying, I have a great idea, I'm going to film it. So whatever your interest is, I think it kind of inspires you to just do it, even if it doesn't turn out the way you want it to.
Yeah.
So.
And I think at the end of the day, regardless of where the filmmaker's from, what language the film's in, there's just a shared experience, a commonality, and there's always something, I guess at least in a well-made film or in a good film, that you end up relating to, and it really sort of sometimes catches you off guard and sometimes it hits you in the face, but it's always something that's just relatable to, and like I said, regardless of the language, you just sort of you can connect with it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thanks so much for taking the time to sit down with me. I hope you enjoy the rest of the festival.
Yeah,
we're looking
we'll be
forward.
here tomorrow too.
Okay,
It was nice meeting you.
great.
Thank
Nice
you.
meeting you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I used to make a lot of dishes, which I remembered from my youth in the kitchen of my mother when I was 4, 5, 6 years old. And that's only because I've got a photographic memory.
All the pictures of all the things that I, remember from before the war or during the war, until we were separated, they're all on my mind. I don't have any physical pictures.
Now it's perfect.
On the one hand, it's consolation. On the other hand, it's terribly sad that all that is left is just memories.
I'm here with Alex Budman, who actually has a film in the festival this year. Alex, before we get started about talking about your film, I always like to start at the beginning. How did you get into film?
I've always loved storytelling, and I started with photography and then stop motion because I thought, wouldn't it be cool if these photos could move? And then it kind of just made sense to try and play with movement in film, which is what got me really interested.
And you're in school right now for film?
Yeah, I'm in my second year of grad school in New York at the School of Visual Arts, studying documentary film.
Wow. So you really love documentaries?
I love documentaries. I think they're a lot of fun because you can just kind of go into the world with a camera and see where it takes you. And I love nonfiction stories and dealing with real people.
Right.
But it's all fun. It's all. Yeah.
I'm sure it's got to be a challenge in constructing the stories. And tell us about your short and all the different things that went into making it.
Well, my short is a story about a Holocaust survivor named Pinkas who survived the war and has a photographic memory, which, as you can imagine, is a tough thing to have when you have such sorrowful memories. But one joyful part of his childhood, which he can really remember before the war, is cooking with his mother. So he remembers from when he's 3, 4, and 5 years old being at her skirt, looking up at the stove as she was cooking this, all sorts of dishes, but the dish that he cooked for me was this kind of fish jelly, which is an interesting dish, but a traditional Polish dish. So he makes it all from visions of his childhood.
Wow. So, with documentary film, it's a little bit different from narrative in terms of, scripting and, coming up with the outline for the film. How important is outlining to creating your stories?
I try not to go in with an agenda. I like to just see where it kind of takes you and see the personalities of the people and the stories that they try to reveal. And I think it's case dependent, but for this film, I kind of just went in and cooked with them, saw the process, and their personalities really came across strongly. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna try and insert some of their humor and some of the joy and some of the sorrow, but not make it too sad because that wasn't their attitude. So I think it's kind of what you feel from the subject that you're working with.
Wow. It sounds awesome. Where can people see the film? Is it online or?
Yeah, I think it's on Vimeo, my Vimeo page, which is just if you search Alex Budman. It's short, it's like 6 minutes, so you can watch it quickly, but it's part of a series I've done on Holocaust survivors, remembering recipes from their past, so there are a few similar ones.
Okay. Well, good luck with your future, with school, and the future films that I'm sure you're going to create.
Thank you so much.
All right,
nice
thanks
to
for
meet
coming on the
you.
show. Nice meeting you.
Thank you.
All right, hey, so I bumped into Sherry Radix Stroud. She's volunteering here at DC Shorts, and we just had a lovely conversation. She's an actress in the DC film area. So, Sherry, what inspired you to volunteer here at DC Shorts?
Because I'm an actress in the DC film area. Really, that is one way. It's a way of getting to know and getting to meet producers, directors. I also have a great interest in film. I met Jon Gann, the founder of DC Shorts, and he kind of roped me in. But once you get involved, the people involved are just, it's fun. It's very enjoyable.
Right. So what does DC Shorts mean to you as, an actress in the area? And obviously DC isn't New York or in LA, but it is an emerging filmmaking market.
Very emerging. What does it mean to me? Well, in addition to acting, I have a small film company that specializes just in short films. We don't do features. So DC Shorts promotes the venue of short films. And I think we need to look into that more. You know, there are features out there that if they were cut down would probably be 10 times better
Right.
than what they are as a feature.
Right.
So shorts are the way people are enjoying film, I think, more and more. Most of our venues sell out very quickly, and it's people's attention span is shortening with all of the technology that we
Right.
have, right?
Right.
So the short film can say a lot more than sitting through 3 hours of a feature.
Right.
I just think DC Shorts is the premier film event to promote the short film, and I just think it's great, and it's known world over.
Yeah.
I say we because I'm a judge. I'm one of the judges, one of the hundreds of judges for the DC Shorts, and we get a lot of films from overseas. So the words of DC Shorts, the world of DC Short is out there.
Right, right. And is this your first year volunteering, or is...
Do you think it's my first year?
I don't think so.
No, I think this is my 5th or 6th year.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
So
I've
like
been
half
having
the time you've been...
Yeah, half
Wow.
the time. Oh, wow. I
Right?
didn't think of that.
Yeah.
10 years, half the time.
That's
oh, my
amazing.
goodness, I'm suddenly feeling very old.
You don't
But it's
act
great.
it.
It's great.
All
It's,
right.
it's really great. It's a lot of fun, and it's the people as well as the subject matter.
So Sherry, if there's some filmmakers that are watching, we also have the podcast that may be listening, how could they get in contact with you if they wanted to? Because obviously she's just got a winning personality, right?
Thank y'all. Oh my goodness, am I promoting me?
Promoting yourself.
Oh my goodness.
Go.
Well, let me see. My email is it's me, and that's ITSME dash, not underscore, but dash, Sherry, and that's spelled SHERI @cox.net. Call me. I'm available. I'd love to help you with your project.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank
Sherry.
you.
It's
Thank
nice
you
talking
for
to
having me on.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
We're here at East Street Cinema, one of Washington, D.C. area's few independent theaters. Obviously, it's hosting DC Shorts. And as we wrap up today, I just want to thank Jon Gann for sitting down and taking time to speak with us, as well as some of the filmmakers and patrons that we spoke to. I also like to thank my crew, Devin Gallagher, Janar Stewart, and Jackie Vitus, for making me look good, I guess. And for Devin standing out in the rain right now. All right, that's it for this episode, folks. Stay tuned to the next one on Picture Lock, where I hope you stay locked on film.